Good morning. This is Prophet Rawan Al-D, prophet to the angel of the church to the Laodiceans, who are Israelites. Good to be with you today. Now, we want to get right into it today. This is Prophet Rawan Al-D, prophet to the angel of the church. Okay, we want to get right into it this morning. And we want to talk about this topic of can black love, so-called black love, survive without so-called black wealth. And this is a commentary basically on a Tonetalks dash radio topic that was discussed, and I thought this was so provocative. Oh, it was rich. It was rich, stimulating, and it was not stimulating because I agree with their worldview. It was stimulating because of the content, just the basic content. Although my worldview is different than theirs, I just love the political and the banter of concerning the condition of our people as Israelites. But of course, they're going to talk about it in the context of blackness, you see. But that's neither here nor there, because my mind transcends that kind of stuff. It really does transcend that kind of thing. Black economic empowerment and the likes. So here where I'm at, this part of the country is raining. So I'll be home today, and I actually needed a 5-day weekend. Boy, I needed a 5-day weekend, and I got it. So I'm going to take full advantage of it. There's going to be some sleeping, some repairs on the home, some I think I got to fix my my heating unit, my furnace today. So I got a whole day to do that, which a bit easy. The blower went out, so I got to replace the blower, and just weatherize my house and all this kind of stuff. But anyway, so I just want to, let's get into this topic. Let's really get into this topic. And I have everything already queued up for us to be able to go right into the topic. And this is concerning, can so-called black love, you know how I'm going to style it, can Israelites, Israelite love, survive without Israelite wealth? Okay, that really recouches the question. Understand that you're an Israelite in connection with the Bible. It really does. I mean, it really forms a whole nother narrative when you look at it from the perspective of Israelite, Torah. Hold on a second. Melchizedek, come here. Have you done what I asked you? Oh, okay. Well, stay back there then. So, a little melee, but domestic melee going on in the house. But anyway, I'll straighten that out when I'm finished, son. So let's look at this. Let's look at this. I want to give you all, the purpose of this channel is certainly that you get into the kingdom, that you be born again. Absolutely. That you reflect the character of the Most High. Absolutely. But sometimes I think that our people are so just bear with me on this word, okay? they're so religious minded, spiritual minded, that they don't actually pay attention to any of the things that's happening around them. And I find that very disconcerting. I really do. There's no practicality to life. And so, hence, I'm delving into this topic. So I've already have it queued up. I'm going to share my screen with you. I don't need to share the screen with you. I'm just going to share the audio with you. Let's just share the audio and make it. Let's simplify this. Let's make this as streamlined as possible. Okay. Now let's look at this thing here. And I'm going to try to behave myself. Okay, I have my Beats Peel all queued up. Now I want you to listen to this caller. This caller, boy, I love this question that this caller put to this guy. It's a very, very interesting and powerfully content question. Talk about some critical thinking. And you know me, I'm not just going to regurgitate. I'm going to give you some bonuses, some extras. I'm going to give you some meat. You see, I'm not just going to regurgitate what he said, because I have a whole different worldview than most Black people who don't know they're Israelites. So you already know I'm chopping it up already. I'm spinning the thing already. So just, this is going to be good. This is going to be good. Oh, when I heard this, I was like, oh, you killed it, brother. Well, let me see.
Your name, where you calling from?
Hey, I'm Alex. I'm calling out here. I'm in DC now. I have crossed paths with you before. We never actually met. I know Yvette real well, but I just wanted to touch a little bit on this. I've known my wife for almost 25 years. We've been married probably almost half of that. And we decided some time ago that come hell or high water, we were going to be together. And that we were going to, we felt you may not find somebody that is, but you can find somebody that is perfect for you. In terms of your question, can Black love survive without Black wealth? That's a very interesting question, because, you know, whenever I'm trying to understand wisdom, that question in the context of history, because if it is truly wisdom, it will stand the test of time. What would your question have meant for the slave? For a slave family? What would that question have meant for people enslaved? Could slaves have love?
Well, I would think we're giving you an answer that the physical presence of it, because slaves were coinage, right? The actual physical body. So
man, this is a powerful question. Can slaves have love? I mean, that question is so loaded in this me-centered, I-centered, I ain't got no help, nobody's helping us, centered society, rugged individualist society. That is a loaded question. I would like to ask 100 people this question. And if you're looking at this broadcast, I would like for you to chime in and tell me what you think. At first glance, before I even give you, I'd like to know, can you have love and be a slave? Because I would really love to know. I would like to go to the bus stop and just ask people this question. It's a beautiful question.
Ability to have your wife was the wealth. Like, I think we've gotten away from the ability.
Now watch this. Watch this.
Wisdom. I want to put that question in the context of history.
I rewind.
Because if it is truly wisdom, it will stand the test of time. It have meant for the slave. for a slave family.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, what would that question have meant for people enslaved? Could slaves have love?
Well, I would think we're giving you an answer that the physical presence of it, because slaves were coinage, right? The actual physical body. So the ability to have your wife was the wealth.
Okay.
Like, I think we've gotten away from that, and like people. So let me give you an example, and I'll let you go back to your point.
Okay.
What we see is so many of us are in love with just shopping. Black millennial women love to go to Forever 21 and get all the different kind of cheap Chinese-made bangles and all. They do this every 2 days, 3 days, whatever. Is that your happiness? And so, like, what I'm saying is, if that's your happiness, evaluate, why does that make you happy?
See, I don't think he's really addressing the question. The man asks, can you have love? Now, maybe he's making an equivalency between wealth and love, because it sounds like that's what he's doing. That sounds like what Antonio Moore is doing. He's making an equivalency between wealth and love, generational wealth and love, the accumulation of wealth and love. I think that equivalency, what I'm going to say, I think is a false equivalency. I think that is fraught with all kinds of problems. Moral, ethical, and motivational. I really do believe that. But let's just hear it out. Let's hear it out. Let's hear it out, because the title of the actual podcast he's doing, a vlog, is Can Black Love Survive Without Black Wealth? And it seems like, just from the answer he just gave, that he's making an equivalency between wealth and love. That is problematic from my worldview. It really is. And even from a practical standpoint of view, it's very problematic. And it actually feeds into the notion, it actually feeds into the idea. I'm not trying to overtalk anybody, but it actually feeds the idea, it nourishes the idea that, well, let me just stop there.
Solid or sound happiness for a group that actually doesn't have wealth to waste. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I do understand it. I guess the thing I think about in the slavery context is she really your wife? No.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, Yvette Carnell is on the line, and so I get the both for both worlds, because I enjoy Yvette Carnell and I enjoy Antonio Morrison. I enjoy both of them, and of course, this is not taking a jab at anybody, but the sexual orientation of Yvette Carnell is a questionable one, because I don't know what she is. There's a lot of ambiguity here. From the way that she looked, the way that she dressed, the way that she carried herself, and she looks like a lesbian. I'm just going to tell you that. And she probably is, okay? She doesn't put that out front, but she's the first one to say, no. I want to replay this so you can hear it. And this is not an indictment, because that's not what the focus is here. But I think, just to give you some context of what's going on, and Antonio Young or Moore, I don't know what, I'm assuming that he's a heterosexual. I don't know.
Solid or sound happiness for a group that actually doesn't have wealth to waste. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I do understand it. I guess the thing I think about in the slavery context is she really your wife? No.
So Yvette Carnell said, no, she's really not your wife in the context of slavery. And so he's basically asking, can Black love exist in the conditions of chattel slavery? Yvette Carnell, she piped up real quick and said, no. Let's keep listening.
Yeah,
so
now he says, yeah. Let's play it over because you can't hardly hear him say it, but he says, yeah. Yvette Carnell says, no. Okay, let's see.
Your wife.
To waste. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I do understand that. I guess the thing I think about in the slavery context is she really your wife? No.
Yeah,
so let me get
you don't have any control.
Yeah.
You don't have any.
Okay. Carnell said, no, she's not your wife because you don't have any control. So because you don't have absolute control over the type of relationship you could have, that means she's really not your wife and y'all really not in love because you don't have any wealth. I'm just thinking this out.
So if you were in slavery, if me and my wife were in slavery right now, what would our dreams be? Have ambition? What would our ambition, baby? When we get old, we're gonna buy a house. No, you didn't have ambition.
Mm-hmm.
We're not that far.
I don't agree with that. I don't believe that slaves did not have any ambition. Couldn't get off the plantation don't mean that you had no ambitions. That's just me. I would always have some ambition. A person that's ambitious is just going to be ambitious. I don't care if they're at the bottom of a hole and they're drowning. They're going to have some ambition. If nothing else, to get out the hole, and so they don't drown.
From that status, because America was built. It was white supremacy was built upon the destruction of Black family formation.
Let me say,
so if you are a Black couple talking about dating, you have to understand that off the cuff. I know you're an attorney. I'm an attorney also. When I worked at a law firm, for example, I worked at a law firm here in D.C. Whenever white people were getting married, it was time for celebration. They were giving all the time off in the world. It was a great big affair. They got ready to get married, or any Black couple got ready to get married in that firm. We were heaped with loads and loads of more work. If I got ready to take time off to go visit wedding venues, the partner was calling me, "What are you doing? Why aren't you in the office?" When a Black woman got pregnant and had to go out, they fired her while she was on maternity leave. You can go all across this country in white operations, organizations, whatever, and they are strategically set up against Black family formation. If you're going to be a Black couple, you have to start from the presupposition that this society is not set up for Black people to coexist within a family.
I believe that there's a real cause for why America is not set up for the flourishing of the so-called Black family or Israelite family, and that's because of the curses. Now, they're not going to take this in consideration. They're not going to take this in consideration because they quasi-Christians, and I think the caller in is a pastor, so you can forget about that. So this mechanism of slavery that we're in today, it's not supposed to be for you to flourish. That's what punishment is all about. That's the penalty that we're reaping, because this is what we have sowed. But we're trying to reap the benefits of Caucasian people who are not under the same curse that we're under, and we want to be prosperous. You're not supposed to be prosperous. It's called a penalty. They're not under that penalty. But there's supposed to be lessons that these people are learning while we're under the hand of their penalty, while they're being used as a penal instrument against us, a punishing instrument towards us. They're not learning anything. And I want to tell you why they're not learning anything, because we're not learning anything. We're the light of the world. We're supposed to be teaching the other nations something even while in captivity, but we're not doing that. So don't expect, if the Most High doesn't cut this captivity short in righteousness, expect a more protracted form of slavery for us today, which we're already in, but it's just going to be drawn out longer, unless the Most High cuts it short in righteousness for the elect's sakes.
Bring Yvette, I'm gonna bring you in, but I'm gonna ask you a twist on what he just presented, and I'm gonna actually ask you more and more. And it's not just about Black families; it's actually poor families. Just to put our relationships in the corner of our.
I don't like when our people always talking about, well, it's not just the Black family, it's the brown family, the poor family, the midget family, the humpback. I don't like all that. We are the people that's under the curses, but of course he's not going to keep it strictly there, because, you know, everybody believe in melting pot and all this kind of stuff, and multiculturalism and all this kind of thing, egalitarianism. You know, we believe in those kinds of things. So we always going to drag other people in, our like immigrants and so on, dictators and aliens and all kinds of stuff, Martians. We're going to drag everybody in, because we don't know who we are. We don't know why we're suffering. We really don't have the real reasons. So we just pull everybody in and think there's going to be strength in numbers, but there's never been strength in numbers when we incorporated other people in our struggles. Because the reason why we have this struggle is because we're under the curses.
Our life. So basically, you finish work and now you got to drive Uber, because they made Uber available. And then by the time you finish Uber, it's time to go back to the main work. Now, what I
that's not slavery.
Does that fit at all into what he's talking about?
Well, yeah, because I mean, when I think about Alex, it's right. Like, you have to. There's no, what kind of control? Like, when he brought up the slave family, no control. Well, we still here, and we don't have no control. So you say you got to go drive Uber? Yeah, you got to go do something. And then, so what happens when you come in the end? You're not even giving your partner your best self, because they got it set up to where you really can't. It's really hard for you to do that. So how does that relationship work? It only works unless you kind of, what Alexander said, we're gonna make each other the priority.
Mm-hmm.
The number one priority, not the number 2, 3, 4, 5, or 6. I'm gonna make this other person a priority, and we're gonna be together. Period. This is just what it is.
Thank you, Carlos.
Now the kid and all that. Now I just leave on this point. The kid and all that.
Now this is interesting. The second part of his question, very interesting, very interesting, very critical thinking here. I'm going to supercharge it. You know me. But anyway,
understanding, you know, so we always hear, and I think I may have mentioned this to Yvette one time, we hear this talk about Black people being crabs in the bucket. Conversation with Dick Gregory one time about this. He said, "Son, have you ever cooked some crabs?" I said, "No, sir." He said, "Well, let me tell you something. When you cook them crabs and that water gets to around 72 degrees Fahrenheit, you're going to see those crabs immediately start to fight to get out of that pot." He said, "But here's the question. Let me ask you this. Are the crabs fighting to get out the pot?"
I like this.
"Because they hate each other? Or are the crabs fighting to get out the pot because the water is hot?" Now, this is huge, because we're living in a society where this water is hot as hell, man, and it is burning everybody. And we don't even understand how we're acting. And the only way you even get to the point of even having a shot at fighting against this is realizing who's at the stove with their hand on the fire.
I agree. I agree. Yes, thank you, caller. Thank you, caller. And thank you for preaching that message to us. Well, you know, I just want to kind of start to give it a closeout on this.
So let me say this. That let's supercharge this, because you know, I know, you got to honor the ancestors, no matter how wrong they were, how right they were, how detrimental they were, you got to honor the ancestors. Okay. All right. Dick Gregory. All right. I get it. Okay. Boy. Okay. So we got to pay homage to him, pour out some libations and all this kind of stuff. All right. Okay. Let me tell you something, y'all. Let's look at the analogy of crabs in a bucket. The analogy of crabs, the parable of crabs in a bucket has always been a suspicious one to me, because my question is, how did they get in the bucket? Hey now. How did the crabs in the bucket? That's what I want to know. Okay. Now, if we are the crabs, whoa, I'm gonna preach now. I'm gonna preach and teach. If we are in fact the crabs that are in the bucket, and we are in the bucket, and everything, and we are not alarmed, as he had portrayed in this analogy. And Dick Gregory, I actually heard him say this. Okay, the alarm should have went off before the crabs got in the bucket. When they were being caught, captured, that's when the alarm should go off. But you know how we are. You know it. We get in the bucket. Hey, we get in the bucket. And because the heat is not on the pot, what we doing in the bucket? We partying, clubbing, turning up, reproducing. That's what we're doing in the bucket. Now, this is way before we're marrying, drinking. What's it? Matthew 24, 37, 38. We're eating, drinking, marrying, giving in marriage. And guess what? Next thing you know, we see the temperature change. And the reason why the temperature changes is because the water is starting to boil. Watch this. I'm gonna help you here. Watch this. So you're in a bucket, clubbing, just having a good old time. Praising white Jesus, getting a good education that is going to take you your whole life to pay for in student loans. Okay, so we just turn it up. We turn it up, boy. We maxing out credit cards. Living way above our means, how in the hall, we getting all kind of diseases, hypertension, kidney failure, all, you name it, we got it. But we having fun though. We having fun. We obese. We're having fun. Getting paid every Friday. We having fun in that bucket. But then the heat gets turned up on the bucket, on the pot of crabs. And soon as the temperature reaches 70 degrees, Guess what the crabs start doing? The environment becomes very hostile. The environment inside the bucket, representing captivity, is very hostile. As soon as it hits 71 degrees, mayhem ensues. Murders. Crabs are choking each other. Why? Because the water is hot. And instead of the crabs calling out to the Most High for deliverance, guess what they do? They're calling out to the person in front of the stove with their hand on the eye. By the way, whom the Most High has put there to turn the heat up on you. Oh, now, oh boy, it's making sense now, ain't it? Making sense. So we start, watch this now. Some of the crabs, watch this, some of the crabs in the bucket are praying to the person with their hand on the stove, the eye, the gauge for turning up the heat. And they're crying out to him, basically praying to white Jesus that he turns the heat down. But they don't know that white Jesus is on assignment from the Most High to turn it up, because why? They're not crying out to the Most High who put the person there. Up we're not calling out to him. We ain't never gonna call it. We gonna look out the pot, see a white face, and guess what? We're gonna pray to him. On the other hand, there's other crabs in the bucket. Watch this. There's other crabs in the bucket, and guess what they're doing? They're cursing the person, the white daddy, with his hand on the stove. So you have these two dynamics here. You have one person, you have some crabs in the bucket fighting each other, but they're praying to white Jesus, who has his hand on the eye, who's put there on assignment by the Yahuwah to turn the stove. And why does the Most High want the water, the heat turned up on the pot? So we could cry out to him. But instead, we're crying out to white Jesus. Then you have another group of crabs in the bucket. I'm trying to help you here. I'm trying to save lives here, families. This is not just story time. Then you have other crabs in the bucket that's cursing the white person, who, by the way, is put on assignment to turn up the heat. Anywhere it go, you can't get out, because the person that put that person on assignment to turn up the heat is not going to be able to stop until the Most High stop them. All we can see is the person's hand on the stove, but we don't see the person's hand on the person that's controlling the stove, controlling the person that has his hand on the stove. We don't see that. All we see is white mommy and white daddy. That's why I think a lot of this Esau stuff is excessive. It's just excessive. And the Most High is the one that have us in the pot. The pot represents captivity. The pot represents slavery. The pot represents oppression. It represents chastisement. But we want to complain about the person who has their hand on the stove instead of pray and give our lives back. The Bible is rife with stories of how Israel got its power back. And it seemed like even as Israelites, we haven't even learned that. All the people that say they're Israelites don't even know this. We act like we don't know it. Because, I mean, why do we talk about Esau so much? And I'm not trying to get the Most High is going to punish Esau. Okay, let's get that out the way. The Most High is going to punish all nations that's ever had their hand on the eye, because some of these people are turning the eye up higher than it's supposed to be turned up. So it's all right. But why are we not crying out to the Most High like we crying against and banging against Esau? I hear way more crying against Esau than I hear crying for the Most High. I'm serious. I saw it in the Christian church and I see it with Hebrew Israelites. We're always crying that white people save us. Chinese people, anybody save us, except for the Most High. We have ostensibly made all the other nations the Most High for us. It's really sad. It's really sad. So the crab in the bucket analogy, the crabs in the bucket analogy, the reason why the crabs are fighting each other is because the heat is up. But how did the crabs get caught in the first place? Because they was in a place that they don't supposed to be. In the place where it was said, what, Hosea 1:10? In the place where it was said, ye are not my people, there shall be said, ye are the sons of the living Elohim. We're out of place, y'all. We are out of place. Exactly. Hey, humble servant, how you doing? Exactly. So let me phrase it this way. Let me phrase the title of this room this way. So can Israelite love survive without black wealth? Yeah. Don't you know the Bible said what? 2 Corinthians chapter 8 verse 9. Let me see. 2 Corinthians chapter 8 verse 9. Look what it says. For ye know that the grace of Yahuwah, Mashiach Yahushua, that though he was rich, listen to this now, yet for your sakes he became poor, that through his poverty, we might become rich. So whatever riches are, according to the Most High, they have nothing to do with material wealth transfer, intergenerational wealth transfer, in vivo wealth transfer, as far as material things are concerned. So this idea of capitalism is so bad that it is encroaching on us worshiping the Most High, and it's causing us to have a worship disorder. Because if you say that you can't have love without wealth, you're saying that you can't have the Most High without wealth. If that's not prosperity gospel that I'm hearing, I don't know what is. That's called mammon worship. That's what that's called. That's called mammon worship. You can't have, okay? He said, I wish above all things that thou prosper and be in health, even as thy soul prospereth. The Bible says, whatsoever state you find yourself in, be content. So you mean to tell me that you can't love a person? You can't love a person if they're not rich? Come on, y'all. You can't love a person if you're a slave? You being a slave is not incumbent upon how you treat another individual. The two greatest commandments is love Yahuwah with all thy heart. It don't cost you nothing to love the Most High. Love the Most High with all your heart, your soul, your strength, and your mind. And you love your neighbor as yourself. On these two laws hang all law and property. and the profits. So, and I know that this is attractive to our people. But what if you win the lottery today? What if you win the lottery today? And I'm not advocating it or not, whatever. That's insignificant. Our condition is so bad. Playing the lottery is, I think I played the lottery one time in my life. I just have no whatever. One time in my life. I don't think I've ever bought a scratch-off ticket, and I played the lottery one time. And I really kind of regret it too. I regret it. It's just. What if I got all this money and guess what? My children don't love me. What if I have all this money and I'm not lovable? Well, I'd rather be poor. I would rather be what people call poor. So if Yahushua was rich and became poor, that we might become rich. So it's like that stuff is relative, you know? Yeah, everybody wants to have nice things. Everybody want to live forever. Everybody yeah, I get all that. They bills paid and have nice homes and cars and all that. But you know what? It's not that serious. That stuff is overrated. It really is. I know people with millions of dollars and they still ain't happy. They've never been happy. Never been happy. They never been happy. I want to tell you how you could tell if a person is happy, no matter what state they find themselves in. How do they treat the people around them? The people that's the closest to them, how do they treat them? That's how you tell if a person is happy. You don't tell a person happy if they got a smile on their face and they pleasant and they give gifts and all this kind of stuff. I know people who do all this kind of stuff and they're miserable. They're a miserable mess. I know people that are famous and they're miserable. Well-educated, PhDs, are miserable. Married 30, 40, 50 years, miserable. None of those things in and of themselves make you happy. And it won't give you love either. Love is key. And one thing that I noticed that when people find love, they get all afraid. But if they find some money, they don't get afraid. They find material things, they don't get afraid. But if they find money, they don't be afraid. But they find love, though, it startles them. It's suspicious. But if they found that the quantity of money that they would find in love, they would not be afraid. So a lot of this comes down to a relationship disorder, a worship disorder that's fermented, nurtured in fear. You see, you want to scare somebody, love them. You want to scare somebody, love them. All right, babe. What time you get off?
Like around 2:30.
Okay. Well, you gonna see your mother?
Yes, I gotta go over there.
Oh, okay. All right. I'll call you. But anyway, so oh, what you talking about, Sarah D? You know it's the truth. If a person found real love and respect, that would scare the hell out of them. If they found the same quantity of love and respect and you could turn it into dollars and cents and dollar bills with white men's faces on it, guess what? They wouldn't be scared. They'd be smiling, cheesing. They'd be putting pictures all on Facebook. But when they found love, oh, now that's something that's like, wait a minute, now you went over the line now. This is some suspicious love here. It's suspect. I feel vulnerable. People, these are when people find love. Okay, I need to slow down. They'll come up with a billion excuses. But if they found some money, nobody would say, I need to slow down. They run straight to Neiman Marcus. It'd be shocked till you drop. Oh boy, boy. Exactly. That's exactly what I'm talking about, Sarah D. Exactly what I'm talking about. People start getting suspicious. They get uncomfortable when you love them. They start telling you it's too much love. Uh, 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 they don't even know what to do with it because they have a love disorder. You see? So can Black love or Israelite love, more specifically and more exactly, can Israelite love survive without Black wealth? Because wealth is not only just monetary, wealth is also health. So if a person gets sick that you love, that means your love stops because they don't have health. Health is wealth. Health is not just something that is a monetary that you measure in dollars and cents and things and cars and homes. But what if the person that you love gets sick? Can you still love them? What if y'all don't see eye to eye on everything? Can you still love them? It's really interesting. I find it really interesting that when people have a real bad job, they find a way to get there. They hate the boss. They find a way to get there. They get there on time. They don't talk back. They don't say stuff like, oh, well, we equal and all this stuff. They don't say all that. But when it comes to relationships, somehow we think that there's no pecking order, no hierarchy, no rulership. It's really interesting when it comes to relationships between the opposite sex, brothers and sisters, two sisters. All those rules that you have in a workplace environment, they go out the door. You go to work, please. What about working on your love? Why should it be any different with working on your love? I want to tell you why. Because people ain't really in love. Relationship, but they're not in love. They're not in love. They're in a relationship. And just because you're in a relationship with somebody don't mean that you love them. We really need to make a distinction between these two things. Just because you're in a relationship with somebody doesn't mean you love them. Or you love them like you should. Or y'all love each other like you should. But anyway, I just wanted to pause for a moment and deal with this topic. I had a whole bunch of scriptures that I wanted to read. I guess we could look at Matthew 6:21. For the things is most of us are so used to being abused. Come on now, I already know where you're going. That when we do get someone that knows how to love us, is what you meant to say, the right way, we get scared and try to ruin it. I'm speaking overall. Hey, preach, sister. Preach. That's what we be doing. Oh, by the way, let's go back to my crab analogy with crabs in a bucket. The crabs in the bucket are fighting each other, not because they hate each other. The crabs are fighting each other because the water is hot and they're all fighting for their life to get out. But Yahushua said, I am the resurrection and the life. And if the crabs in the hot bucket that's almost about to boil just had enough sense to cry out to the Most High, they could be delivered from the boiling pot of water. No, I got you. I got you. I got you. We all make typos. So the crabs in the bucket are fighting each other because they all are in captivity. And the bucket that they're in is a pot of water that is gradually getting hotter and hotter. And so that's why the crabs are fighting each other in the bucket. The solution to the crabs being in the bucket is that they never should have got caught. They were in their environment, freely swimming around, but they swam into a net. They was in the wrong place at the wrong time. And that's how they got in the bucket to get boiled, the pot to get boiled. So I don't like the analogy of crabs in a bucket because it diminishes the imagination of how to get free. It brings no real solution on how to get free. There is never any closure on how to get free. Whenever you hear people talk about crabs in a bucket, nobody ever talks about how they got in there and how they can get out and escape. Nobody ever talks about that. And nobody ever tells you that the bucket that they're in is a pot on top of a stove that is getting increasingly hotter as time go by. Nobody ever mentions this when they talk about Israelites as crabs in a bucket or black people as crabs in a bucket. How did they get in the bucket? I know how they catch crabs. They catch crabs in a net. They catch crabs in a net. The bucket is captivity. The fire under the pot is persecution. It's the Most High allowing our enemies to turn up the heat, who have their hand on the eye of the stove, turning up the heat so we can cry out to him. But who we crying out to? We're crying to the hand on the stove, which is an oppressor. The same oppressor that's turning up is the one that was allowed to catch us in a net. There are more facets to this story and to this analogy, this metaphor of crabs in a bucket than meets the eye. Now, I've heard several explanations of this, but none of the explanation I heard tells you how to stay out the bucket or how to get out the bucket. But I'm offering that today, how to get out the bucket. If thou will diligently hearken unto the voice of the Lord, voice of Elohim, that Yahuwah thy Elohim, I will put none of these diseases upon thee that I put upon the Egyptian. The Bible tells us in Deuteronomy 4, I think 27, 28, Deuteronomy chapter 30, 31. It tells us how to get out the bucket, but we don't want to get out the bucket. And the reason why we don't want to get out the bucket because the water is not hot enough. So what we're doing in the bucket, we're in the bucket turning up, clubbing, maxing out credit cards, living above our means, paying for education, going into debt for education that we would never be able to afford in 2 lifetimes. And so these are some of the things that cause the water to be turned up hot, because these are the very things that cause us to forget that we even in a pot. But once that heat starts getting up to like 75 degrees, you're going to see a lot more fighting. You see? But anyway, this is Prophet Rawanawa B. I hope this is a blessing to you. I hope it was edified. Please share this on your social networks. What I'm sharing with you is the gospel of the kingdom of Israel. And I like to use different mediums and different things that I hear to showcase, to illustrate the gospel of the kingdom of Israel for our people. All right, this is Prophet Robert. I would be. I'm out of here. You all have a wonderful day. Shalom. Don't forget to like the video. Don't forget to like the video. Anybody have anything to say before I go? Anybody have anything they would like to say before I go? Because I can have you come on over and we can talk. Because today it's a rainy day, so I don't have to go anywhere today. Thank the Most High. So I wouldn't mind chopping it up and talking to somebody and hearing somebody's voice besides mine. Matter of fact, that would make this far more interesting. And then you don't have to type. You want to come over, Sarah? Who else is in here? Or whoever else? Humble servant, you want to come over and say something? Hey, humble servant. Yeah, I got to give you a shout out. Thanks for the shout out on I was looking at a video and you gave me a shout out. I appreciate that. Thank you. Thank you. I think the Jedediah Malik channel. All right. Well, if nobody wants to come over, I'm going to close. But thank you for coming. I like to wait a little bit because I think there's a 15-20 second delay. Oh, you want to come over? Okay, cool. That's good. That's good. What I'll do is I'll provide a link for you to click on and you can just come click right on over. I like talking to my subscribers and when I can. Most people don't want to talk. That's why I never give an invitation, because most people don't want to talk and they shy or whatever. But that's why I never give the invitation, because 90% of the time, 99% of the time, nobody wants to come over. Okay, let's see. Did I mess something up here? Let me see. Put this link in the room. Just bear with me here. I'm getting a link right now to put in the room for you. So you could come on over. We can let's see here. Okay, there's the link right there. You just click on that link and it'll bring you right on over. Is Humble Servant still here? Humble Servant, you still here? It'd be nice if you could come over too. Okay, I'm still here waiting for you. Just to let you know, I think it works best if you are on Chrome. I don't think it will work if you're on Firefox, unless you have an attachment to your Firefox, attached to a Firefox browser. And I think you would also have an issue if you are on, I'm not sure if you're on a cell phone. I think there's something that you have to download, an app that you have to download. I'm not sure though. I'm not sure. But let me see. Let me see. I'm going to see if I can click on that link on my phone, and I'm going to see what happens. I'm waiting for you. So yeah, let me see here. Let's see here. Yeah, on my phone, when I click on it, yeah, on my phone, click on it. Are you still there, Sarah D? I think I have to have Google Hangout. I have the Google Hangout app. So I want to see how this works. I never did this before. Okay, I'm on here. Okay. Well, I don't know if Sarah D is still here.
And I don't know if she said sure
because of something else or sure because she's coming over. Well, she's going to try to come over or whatever. But the only way that I can get on is because I have Google Hangout. I downloaded to my cell phone. So yeah, but anyway, I guess I'm going to close because I can't hear, know what, if anybody's coming over or not, or if Sarah's coming over in particular. I thought she was saying she was going to come over, but problems or what. But if you're having problems, just let me know. If you're trying to come over, give me a 1. If you're not coming over, give me a 2. Then that way I'll know. Okay, I'm going to close.